Why do physical problems seem to appear so suddenly after 70? Have you ever noticed how someone in their early 70s can seem perfectly healthy one year and then suddenly struggle with multiple health problems the next? One moment they're gardening, traveling, playing with their grandchildren, and enjoying retirement. Then, almost without warning, they're dealing with fatigue, joint pain, memory lapses, or a serious illness that seems to change everything. It leaves many families asking the same painful question: how did this happen so fast? If you've wondered about that, whether for yourself, your spouse, your parents, or someone you love, you are not alone. The truth is, these changes rarely happen overnight. For years, the body quietly adapts, compensates, and hides the effects of aging. Then, almost like the final domino falling, several hidden changes begin to surface at once. What feels sudden is often the result of decades of gradual biological shifts, finally reaching a tipping point. But here's the encouraging news. Growing older does not automatically mean losing your independence or your quality of life. Many adults remain energetic, mentally sharp, and physically active well into their 80s and even 90s. The difference often comes down to understanding what is happening inside the body and taking the right actions before small problems become major ones. So as we begin, I'd like you to think about one question. Have you noticed any physical changes since turning 70? Or perhaps you've seen them in someone you love? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story may comfort someone else who realizes they're not facing these challenges alone. Let's explore why these changes happen, and more importantly, what you can do about them. The silent biological changes nobody talks about. Aging is far more than simply adding another birthday to the calendar. Inside the body, millions of tiny changes are taking place every single day. Most of them happen so gradually that we barely notice them. Our cells repair themselves more slowly. Our organs become less efficient. Muscles naturally shrink. Bones lose density. The immune system becomes less responsive. Even our brain begins processing information differently than it once did. None of these changes are dramatic on their own, but together they create a chain reaction that makes the body much more vulnerable after age 70. Think of it like maintaining an old house. One loose roof tile isn't a problem. Neither is a small crack in the foundation. A slightly rusty pipe might seem harmless too. But eventually, all those small issues begin affecting one another. The same thing happens inside the aging body. What once seemed like isolated problems suddenly become connected. That's why many people feel as though their health declined all at once. In reality, the body has simply reached the point where it can no longer compensate as effectively. Your genes matter, but they don't tell the whole story. Many people believe their future health is already written in their DNA. There's certainly some truth to that. Our genes influence how likely we are to develop conditions such as heart disease, osteoporosis, diabetes, or Alzheimer's disease. Some families seem blessed with remarkable longevity. Others have a long history of chronic illness. But here's something many people don't realize. Genes load the gun. Lifestyle often pulls the trigger. Even if you've inherited certain risks, daily habits can dramatically influence how and when those genes are expressed. Regular movement, nutritious food, quality sleep, managing stress, staying socially connected. These choices cannot rewrite your DNA, but they can help your body function at its best for much longer. That's why two people with very similar genetic backgrounds can experience completely different aging journeys. One may remain independent well into their 80s. The other may struggle years earlier. The difference is often found in the small decisions repeated every day. So here's another question for you. Do longevity and good health run in your family, or have you had to overcome serious health challenges? I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. Every family's story is different, and your insights may encourage someone else. Why the immune system becomes less effective. One of the biggest hidden changes after age 70 happens inside the immune system. Scientists call this immunosenescence, the gradual aging of our natural defenses. When we're younger, the immune system responds quickly to viruses, bacteria, and damaged cells. As we grow older, that response slows down. Infections become harder to fight. Recovery takes longer. Even common illnesses that once lasted a few days may become much more serious. This is one reason older adults are encouraged to stay current with vaccinations and seek medical attention earlier when symptoms appear. But the immune system does much more than fight infections. It also helps control inflammation. As immune function declines, many older adults experience something researchers call chronic low-grade inflammation. You may not feel it directly, yet over time, it quietly contributes to heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, memory problems, and many other chronic conditions. It's another reminder that aging isn't caused by one single event. It's the accumulation of many small biological changes working together. When chronic diseases begin to work together, another reason health problems seem to multiply after 70 is that chronic conditions rarely arrive alone. High blood pressure may affect kidney function. Diabetes may damage blood vessels and nerves. Arthritis reduces movement, leading to weaker muscles. Reduced activity contributes to weight gain. Extra weight places additional stress on the heart and joints. One condition creates another, then another. Before long, what started as one manageable health issue becomes several interconnected problems. That's why doctors often emphasize prevention instead of simply treating symptoms. The earlier we interrupt this chain reaction, the greater our chances of maintaining independence. Fortunately, there is encouraging evidence. Research consistently shows that regular physical activity, healthy nutrition, routine medical checkups, and staying mentally engaged can slow many of these age-related changes. Not stop them completely, but slow them enough to preserve quality of life for years. Aging is not the enemy. Perhaps the most important lesson is this: getting older isn't the real problem. Giving up on caring for ourselves is. Our bodies naturally change with age. That's inevitable. But decline is not always inevitable. Many people in their 70s and 80s continue traveling, volunteering, exercising, learning new skills, and enjoying meaningful relationships because they understand one simple truth. Healthy aging is built one decision at a time. And every positive choice, no matter how small, is an investment in tomorrow. Everyday habits that quietly decide how well you age. If biology explains why our bodies change after 70, our daily habits often determine how quickly those changes appear. This is where the story becomes surprisingly hopeful. Because while we cannot change our age, we can change many of the small decisions that shape our future. Think about it for a moment. Most of us never wake up intending to damage our health. We simply skip a walk because we're tired. We stay up a little too late. We choose convenience over nutrition. We sit a little longer than we should. One day doesn't seem to matter. Neither does 1 week. But years of small habits slowly become the life we experience after 70. The remarkable thing is that the opposite is also true. Small healthy habits, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results over time. Let's look at the 3 lifestyle habits that make the biggest difference. Sleep, the healing process. Many seniors underestimate. Many older adults accept poor sleep as a normal part of aging. I only sleep 4 or 5 hours now. I wake up several times every night. I guess that's just what happens when you get older. But while changes in sleep patterns are common, consistently poor sleep should never be ignored. Every night, while we're asleep, the body performs some of its most important maintenance work. Damaged tissues are repaired. Hormones are balanced. The brain clears away waste products that accumulate during the day. Memories are organized and strengthened. The immune system prepares for another day. When sleep becomes fragmented or too short, these essential repair processes are interrupted. Over time, poor sleep may contribute to fatigue, slower thinking, weakened immunity, higher blood pressure, and increased inflammation throughout the body. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself. After one restless night, everything feels harder. Simple tasks require more effort. Your patience is shorter. Your balance may even feel less steady. Now imagine repeating that cycle for months or years. It's no wonder that sleep has such a powerful influence on healthy aging. If you're watching this video, I'd love to know. How many hours do you usually sleep each night? Share your answer in the comments. You may discover you're not alone. Exercise is essential, but balance is even more important. When people think about staying healthy after 70, one activity almost always comes to mind: walking. And for good reason. Walking is one of the safest and most effective forms of exercise for many older adults. It strengthens the heart, improves circulation, supports joint mobility, boosts mood, helps maintain independence. But here's where many people unknowingly make a mistake. They believe walking is enough. Imagine trying to sit on a three-legged chair after removing one of the legs. Eventually, balance is lost. The human body works the same way. Walking develops endurance, but it doesn't fully maintain muscle strength. It doesn't preserve flexibility, and it doesn't challenge balance in every direction. As muscles naturally decline with age, strength training, even with light resistance bands or simple chair exercises, becomes increasingly important. Gentle stretching helps joints move comfortably. Balance exercises reduce the risk of dangerous falls. Together, these activities support one another. It's never about exercising harder. It's about exercising smarter. Many active seniors in their 80s don't spend hours in the gym. Instead, they combine several simple forms of movement into a routine they can enjoy for years. Consistency always beats intensity. Nutrition. Your body is built from what you eat. There's an old saying, you are what you eat. After 70, that statement becomes even more meaningful. As we grow older, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing nutrients. Muscle mass naturally declines. Bone density decreases. The immune system requires greater nutritional support. Yet many older adults actually eat less than they did when they were younger. Sometimes it's because appetite changes. Sometimes chewing becomes difficult. Sometimes cooking for one person no longer feels worthwhile. Unfortunately, eating less often means consuming fewer essential nutrients. Protein becomes especially important because it helps preserve muscle strength. Calcium and vitamin D support healthy bones. Colorful fruits and vegetables provide antioxidants that protect cells from damage. Whole grains and fiber help maintain digestive health. Healthy fats support both the heart and the brain. Even something as simple as drinking enough water deserves attention. Many seniors no longer feel thirsty until they're already mildly dehydrated. That dehydration can contribute to fatigue, dizziness, confusion, and even falls. Sometimes what appears to be getting older is actually the result of giving the body less of what it truly needs. The encouraging news? Small nutritional improvements can make a noticeable difference. Adding more protein to breakfast, choosing water instead of sugary drinks, including vegetables at every meal. These aren't dramatic changes, but over months and years, they become powerful investments in long-term health. The lifestyle choices that matter most are often the simplest. When people think about healthy aging, they often search for miracle supplements, secret treatments, or expensive wellness programs. Yet the greatest predictors of healthy aging are usually much simpler. Sleeping well, moving every day, eating nourishing foods, staying mentally active, maintaining meaningful relationships. None of these habits are glamorous. None promise overnight transformation. But together, they quietly build resilience, day after day, year after year. Healthy aging isn't about chasing perfection. It's about making today's choices just a little better than yesterday's. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you one more question. Which healthy habit has made the biggest difference in your life? Is it walking, better sleep, healthier eating, or perhaps something completely different? Leave your answer in the comments below. Someone reading your experience may discover exactly the encouragement they needed today. In the next part, we'll explore a health risk that receives far less attention than it deserves, yet it affects millions of older adults every single day. Loneliness, chronic stress, and emotional well-being may influence your physical health far more than most people realize. The hidden health threat many seniors never see coming: loneliness and emotional well-being. When people talk about aging, the conversation usually focuses on physical health: heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, high blood pressure. But there's another threat that often grows quietly in the background, one that doesn't show up on an X-ray or a blood test. It's loneliness. And for many older adults, loneliness can be just as damaging as any chronic illness. In fact, researchers have found that prolonged social isolation is associated with a higher risk of heart disease, depression, cognitive decline, and even premature death. That's a sobering thought, because loneliness isn't always about being physically alone. Some people live by themselves and feel deeply connected to family and friends. Others are surrounded by people every day, yet still feel invisible. As the years pass, retirement changes daily routines. Children move away. Friends relocate or pass on. Health problems make it harder to get out. Little by little, the world becomes smaller. What begins as fewer phone calls or missed family gatherings can gradually turn into weeks or even months without meaningful conversation. The silence grows, and unfortunately, so do its effects on the body. When the heart feels lonely, the body suffers. Too many people think loneliness only affects emotions, but the body tells a very different story. When we experience ongoing loneliness, the brain often interprets it as a form of chronic stress. That stress causes the body to release hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. In small amounts, these hormones are helpful. They prepare us to respond to danger. But when stress continues day after day, month after month, the body never fully relaxes. Blood pressure rises, sleep becomes lighter, inflammation increases, the immune system becomes less effective. Over time, this constant state of alertness places extra strain on nearly every organ. The heart works harder. The brain becomes more vulnerable. Even healing slows down. It's remarkable and heartbreaking that something as simple as feeling disconnected from others can gradually influence physical health in so many ways. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself. Have you ever noticed how a warm conversation with someone you love can instantly lift your mood? Or how laughter seems to make aches and pains feel just a little lighter? Human connection is powerful medicine, sometimes more powerful than we realize. The emotional weight of losing purpose. One of the greatest transitions after retirement isn't financial, it's emotional. For decades, many people wake up with a clear purpose. They go to work, raise children, care for family, solve problems, help others. Their days have structure, their lives have direction. Then one day, that routine disappears. Without realizing it, many older adults begin asking themselves difficult questions. Do people still need me? Am I still contributing? What is my purpose now? These questions are deeply human, and when they remain unanswered, they can slowly lead to sadness, withdrawal, and loss of confidence. The truth is, purpose doesn't disappear with age. It simply changes. Sometimes purpose becomes mentoring grandchildren, volunteering, learning a new skill, helping neighbors, growing a garden, writing family memories, sharing life lessons. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It simply has to remind us that our life still matters, because it does. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. One of the biggest misconceptions about depression in older adults is that it always involves crying or obvious sadness. Often it doesn't. Sometimes it looks like losing interest in favorite hobbies. Sometimes it's sleeping too much or barely sleeping at all. Sometimes it's forgetting meals, avoiding phone calls, feeling constantly tired, or believing that nothing is worth looking forward to anymore. These changes are often mistaken for normal aging, but they shouldn't be ignored. Depression affects far more than emotions. It reduces motivation to exercise. It weakens appetite. It interferes with sleep. It makes medical conditions harder to manage. It can even affect memory and concentration, making people worry they are developing dementia, when in reality, depression is playing a significant role. The good news is that depression is treatable. No one should feel embarrassed about asking for help. Talking with a trusted family member, physician, counselor, or support group can make an enormous difference. Seeking help is never a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage. Why staying social protects the brain. Have you ever noticed how energized you feel after spending time with people who make you laugh? That's not your imagination. Meaningful conversations challenge the brain in remarkable ways. Listening, remembering, responding, reading facial expressions, sharing stories. All of these activities stimulate important neural pathways. In many ways, conversation becomes exercise for the brain. That's why older adults who remain socially engaged often maintain sharper thinking for longer. Whether it's joining a walking group, attending a church service, playing cards with friends, volunteering, or simply calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Each interaction strengthens more than relationships. It strengthens the mind, and perhaps even more importantly, it strengthens the spirit. Emotional support is one of life's greatest medicines. As people age, many become reluctant to ask for help. They don't want to burden their children. They don't want others to worry. So they quietly carry their struggles alone. But emotional support isn't about solving every problem. Sometimes it's simply knowing that someone cares enough to listen. A short phone call, a shared meal, a heartfelt conversation, a handwritten letter. These small moments remind us of something we all need to hear. You still matter. You are still loved. You are not alone. And sometimes those reminders become the very thing that gives someone the strength to keep moving forward. So I'd like to ask you something. Who has made the biggest difference in your life? Perhaps it's your spouse, a lifelong friend, a sibling, a neighbor, or maybe even a grandchild whose smile brightens your day. Take a moment and tell us in the comments. You never know. That person may read your words one day, or your story may inspire someone else to reconnect with someone they've been meaning to call. Growing older doesn't mean growing apart. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves after 70 isn't found in a bottle, a prescription, or an expensive treatment. It's connection. Connection to family, connection to friends, connection to purpose, and connection to hope. Because while aging may change the body, it doesn't have to diminish the heart. Every meaningful conversation, every shared laugh, every act of kindness, adds something no medication can replace. In the next part, we'll explore another challenge that quietly affects millions of older adults: financial pressures, access to healthcare, and the hidden mistakes many people make with medications that can seriously impact long-term health. Some of these risks are surprisingly common, and knowing about them could protect both you and someone you love. The health challenges few people prepare for: money, medical care, and medication mistakes. After 70, there is one reality about growing older that many families rarely discuss. It isn't comfortable, it isn't dramatic, but it quietly shapes the health and quality of life of millions of older adults every day. It's the growing challenge of managing healthcare. After the age of 70, most people need more medical attention than ever before. Regular checkups, prescription medications, specialists, laboratory tests, physical therapy, sometimes surgeries. Each of these can improve quality of life, but together they can also become overwhelming. Not just physically, but emotionally and financially as well. And unfortunately, many seniors begin making difficult choices they never imagined they'd have to make. Some delay seeing a doctor because they don't want to worry their family. Others skip appointments because traveling has become difficult. Some stretch their medications to make them last longer. Others simply accept pain as part of getting old. These decisions are understandable, but they can quietly turn manageable health problems into much more serious ones. The hidden cost of delaying medical care. Many illnesses don't begin with dramatic symptoms. High blood pressure often causes no pain. Early diabetes may go unnoticed. Kidney disease can progress silently. Even certain heart conditions develop gradually. Without regular medical care, these problems may remain hidden until they become emergencies. That's why preventive care becomes increasingly valuable after 70. A simple blood pressure check, a routine blood test, a vision exam, or a conversation with your physician may identify problems long before they begin affecting daily life. Think of regular health screenings like maintaining a car. Most people don't wait for the engine to fail before changing the oil. The same principle applies to our bodies. Small maintenance today often prevents major repairs tomorrow. Financial stress affects more than the wallet. Retirement should be a season of peace. Yet for many older adults, financial concerns become a constant source of anxiety. Fixed incomes rarely keep pace with rising healthcare costs. Unexpected medical bills create difficult decisions. Should you replace your glasses or repair the roof? Buy healthier groceries or refill every prescription? Visit the doctor or wait another month? No one should have to make these choices. Yet many seniors do. What many people don't realize is that financial stress itself can affect health. Constant worry raises stress hormones. Sleep becomes more difficult. Blood pressure may increase. Depression and anxiety become more common. In other words, financial pressure doesn't stay in the bank account. It follows people into their daily lives and sometimes into their bodies. If you're caring for aging parents or planning your own retirement, this is an important reminder. Financial planning isn't just about money. It's also about protecting future health. Nutrition should never become an afterthought. When budgets become tighter, food is often one of the first places people try to save money. Unfortunately, the least expensive choices aren't always the healthiest ones. Highly processed foods may be convenient, but they often contain too much sodium, unhealthy fats, and added sugars while providing very little nutrition. As we age, our bodies actually need better nutrition, not less. Protein helps preserve muscle. Calcium and vitamin D support bones. Fiber keeps digestion healthy. Fresh fruits and vegetables provide vitamins and antioxidants that protect our cells. Good nutrition isn't about eating perfectly. It's about giving the body the resources it needs to repair itself every day. Even small improvements, adding an extra serving of vegetables, choosing lean protein, or drinking enough water can have lasting benefits. One of the most common mistakes: medication mismanagement. If you ask most older adults how many medications they take each day, many would need a moment to count. 5, 7, sometimes even 10 or more. Each medication may be necessary, but together they create a new challenge: managing them safely. Some medications need to be taken with food. Others should be taken on an empty stomach. Certain drugs should never be combined. Missing doses can reduce effectiveness. Taking extra doses can be dangerous. Even vitamins and herbal supplements may interact with prescription medications. That's why it's so important to keep an updated medication list and review it regularly with a healthcare professional. Another common mistake is stopping medication simply because symptoms improve. Feeling better doesn't always mean the underlying condition has disappeared. Blood pressure medication, for example, often works precisely because it's being taken consistently. Stopping it without medical guidance may allow blood pressure to rise again, sometimes without noticeable symptoms. If you ever have questions about your medications, Never hesitate to ask your doctor or pharmacist. There is no such thing as a foolish question when it comes to your health. Asking for help is a sign of wisdom. Many older adults spent their lives taking care of others. Now, when they need assistance themselves, asking for help can feel uncomfortable. Some don't want to inconvenience their children. Others worry about losing their independence. But accepting help doesn't mean giving up independence. In many cases, it helps preserve it, whether it's organizing medications, scheduling appointments, providing transportation, or simply accompanying someone to a doctor's visit. Support from family and friends often makes healthcare safer and less stressful. No one should have to navigate aging completely alone. And if you're watching this while caring for a parent or grandparent, remember something important. Sometimes your greatest gift isn't solving every problem. It's simply showing up, listening, being present, offering encouragement. Those small acts often mean more than words can express. Your future health is built one decision at a time. Growing older brings challenges that none of us can completely avoid, but many of those challenges become easier to manage when we stay informed, seek medical care early, take medications responsibly, and accept support when we need it. Healthy aging isn't about avoiding every illness. It's about giving yourself the best possible chance to continue living with independence, dignity, and purpose. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you something. What's one piece of health advice you've received over the years that has truly made a difference in your life? Share it in the comments below. Your experience may become exactly the encouragement someone else needs today. In the next part, we're going to focus on one of the simplest and most powerful tools for healthy aging. It's free. Almost everyone can do it. And when done correctly, it can strengthen your heart, protect your brain, improve your mood, and help you stay independent for years to come. Let's talk about the incredible power of walking.